Hello and welcome to the Complete Hire Equipment WRFL Week 3 Finals Preview. We'll start in Rams Division 1. It is the preliminary final at Burbank Oval on Saturday afternoon. Altona taking on Hoppers Crossing. How do you see this one, Pepe?
It's a tricky one, Willow. You'd think Altona would win based on, I suppose, most of the season. They've been the better team first versus third. They were squared the ledger between one another throughout the home and away year. Altona in the final round at home were far too strong, and Hoppers a little scratchy throughout the finals campaign, but they got over Spotswood at the weekend in the semi-final and knocked them out of the race. So they looked okay, but they were a little shaky towards the end. They looked like they had it all sorted at three-quarter time, and then they let the Woodsman kick 4 goals in a row at the start of the last quarter and made it interesting. So I'm still on Altona, although they've got some injury concerns from the semi-final with Deer Park last week. They started very well and then just were blown away, really, sort of midway through the third quarter onwards, and 8 straight goals in the last quarter, and they lost comfortably in the end. But they lost Brett Shields. He won't play probably. Jack Marley won't play, surgery on the shoulder is what we're hearing. So they're big outs, especially Shields, I feel. Big-bodied midfielder in the centre, so that's perhaps an area where Hoppers can get on top. I'm just still leaning towards the Vikings. I think they've got a bit too much class.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings as well. I think they just have a little bit more firepower up front, especially if they can get Paddy Rose going. Yep. So that was Rams Division 1. Now, Division 2 is grand final time. This is at Avalon Airport Oval on Sunday. The undefeated Yarraville Seddon Eagles taking on Point Cook. A fantastic effort by the Bulldogs to make the grand final in their first season in the WRFL. It's looking pretty one-sided if you go by the regular season, you think, Pepe?
It is, but Point Cook got a little closer last time in the earlier final. 28 points. They kept them scoreless in the opening quarter as well, Point Cook against Yarraville Seddon, so they can take some positives from that. They certainly, I suppose, brought it a little closer than the previous few matches where it was 66 and 67 points. So they've got something to work with, the Bulldogs, and they were very, very convincing against Parkside at the weekend as well. So they've well and truly earned their place, and based on what we've seen, the second best team in the comp. But we've seen Yarraville Seddon falter at times in grand finals over the last few years, so there may be a little question mark there, and they'll want to make a good start to arrest those memories potentially. But they do have a vastly different outfit to those years. A very young side, a very quick side. Point Cook are going to have to try to quell that if they can. They might have a slight edge in the ruck with the likes of Skipper and Robinson, both very big boys, certainly with size and strength advantage over the likes of Varsamarcus and Angove, but they might have the other two covered for ground coverage and speed and being able to just get around the ground a little bit easier. So the one thing I am sure of, Willow, is that if Point Cook are going to win, they have to do something different. If they do what they've done so far, they will not win. They have to try to maybe unsettle them early, try to get a little bit of a mental edge at the start, perhaps. They've just got to try something else, because what they've tried so far hasn't worked. They've got to pull something out of the hat. But I think the Eagles should be too strong, but you never know.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles to win this one. I think they might be just a bit too quick for Point Cook. In Division 3, it is also grand final time. This is on Saturday at Avalon Airport Oval. Point Cook Centrals taking on Wyndham Suns. This is going to be a hard one to pick.
It is a hard one to pick because Point Cook Central's finished on top of the ladder, but Wyndham Suns through the first 3 months were the best team in the comp. And then obviously we know they dropped 4 of 6, but they've hit some form lately. They were too good for Braybrook in the first final, and then came from behind to beat Tarneet, who we considered probably the strongest team over the course of the year, and beat them comfortably in the end in the last quarter of the preliminary final in Division 3. So they were outstanding, Wyndham Suns, and they've got some momentum which counts for a lot. So the Sharks will need to be ready to be hit hard early. They've had the week off, so they can't afford to be rusty. We know they're a young team. They've got some experience in there as well, the likes of Sheehan, the Henderson brothers as well, and a potent attack with the likes of Zulich and Grundy and those sorts of guys who can kick a score. But Steve Nerlich, I think, could loom as a key for Wyndham Suns. He's has had a good year without being overly influential, but he's really come into his own the past few weeks, bags of 6 and 5. might be his last season for the Suns as well. So they'll be all in to try to get him and the rest of them a premiership as well. So with that momentum, who knows? I'm just leaning towards them. I reckon a bit of experience and hard-nosed edge for Wyndham Suns might get them over the line.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Sharks to win the grand final in Division 3. And you can listen to both grand finals, Division 2 on Sunday from 2 o'clock on 88.9 Win FM, and Division 3 from 1:30 on Saturday on 88.9 Win FM. So tune in then for all the action. Good luck to your team this weekend.